Consumer prices jumping to the highest level in nearly 40 years. What does it mean for American pocketbooks and for President Biden's agenda in the days ahead? Joining us to break all of this down, ABC News economic correspondent Deirdre Bolton and political director Rick Klein. Thank you both for joining us. Deirdre, let's dive into those details. We are talking about a 6.8% climb in prices year over year. How is this impacting Americans at the grocery store, gas pump during the holidays, and where are we seeing the biggest jumps?
Kenneth, we cannot overstate how these price increases are so broad. And you mentioned some of the categories, but they are really hitting basics: food, clothing, shelter, in huge amounts. I just want to give you some stats that I pulled from earlier. So proteins, meat, poultry, fish, eggs, they are up as a group 12.5% versus this time last year. If you look at shelter costs, let's just say rent, the highest since 2007. Prices at the pump, 58% higher right now than they were 1 year ago. So it goes without saying that all of these costs really hit low-income, middle-income families the hardest. You referenced the period of the year that we are in, this holiday period, which is normally a time of festivities, a time of celebration. So it is very difficult for some families to just make ends meet. And we cannot overstate how important and how broad sweeping this is at this time. Even clothing, even if you want to say, okay, it's chilly out, people may need new clothes, even clothes are more expensive than they were this time last year.
Wow, just incredible. And Rick, let's take a look at President Biden's approval rating. I know it's been taking a decline. It's in the low 40s. Do we know how much people's economic concerns are weighing on their feelings about this presidency?
Oh, sure. The two issues are very much entwined. And you can see through our 538 numbers here that the president had a pretty good first 6 months of the year. And then right around the time of the Afghanistan withdrawal, things started going south for him. That's also the time that we saw the Delta variant. That's also the time we started to see concerns around gas prices and inflation. And I think those issues are driving a broad perception that the country's not headed in the right direction, that the president's leadership has underwhelmed for the moment. And frankly, the president and the White House have been caught by some of their own predictions around inflation, calling it transitory from top officials early on. Clearly, it's not transitory from the perspective of people that are struggling to pay their bills, and this is the kind of issue that is immune from political spin. If you know that the prices have gone up and it costs more to fill up a tank of gas or to buy your groceries, then it's obvious what's going on, and political rhetoric, speeches don't really address that.
And Deirdre, the Biden administration and the Federal Reserve have repeatedly made the case that these increases are temporary and there are signs prices will drop or at least stabilize anytime soon. I heard the president when he was speaking today or moments ago right here on ABC News Live, he was quick to mention where gas prices are under $3. So many are asking, where is all of this headed? Is it heading to where it is a lower price where we can stomach it again?
Most economists do expect some of the pricing pressures that we just talked about to mitigate by spring, for example, of 2022. So if you look at West Texas crude, which may be one of the points that President Biden was speaking of, it is down, that is to say, 15% from its November high. So that is encouraging. So there are many economists who see that as the idea that, okay, prices have stopped going up so much. The other idea is that, in theory, demand for durable goods will slow down. For example, when we think about durable goods orders, it's not as if people are going to redo their kitchens, 2 times in a 4-year period. So that is to say, all the demand for appliances will slow down, any of those big items that need to be shipped. And then, of course, we are in the middle of the supply chain crisis, but again, there are signs of alleviation. So it is far from being over. We still have these bottlenecks, but they are less bad than they were even a month or 2 ago. So these are all encouraging signs, many economists taking them to be harbingers of better things to come. So that is to say, fewer inflationary pressures in the next few months. But I think it's safe to say for the next 3 months, we are just going to pay more, probably 10% more at least for almost everything. But hope comes in the spring, Kenneth.
I enjoy that message. Thank you for that, Deirdre. And as Rick, as Deirdre just pointed out, that this could all take some time. It could also still, as it takes time, it can still hurt the president, spell trouble for the president, especially because we know these inflation numbers could spell trouble as he tries to get this Build Back Better agenda across the finish line in the Senate. We saw headlines today about that, how much it could cost if these programs continue over next decade or so. And Senator Joe Manchin was apparently, according to Lindsey Graham, validated here over that sticker shock there. So how can the administration make that case that we should pump another $1 to $2 trillion into a very hot economy?
Kenneth, the Biden agenda took these two blows, this inflation report as well as this Congressional Budget Office report. Now, Democrats will point out that this isn't actually what the bill does, that it doesn't go forward in a 10-year timeline, that a lot of the provisions that they're assuming would last that long are temporary. But the other argument that the White House is using is that, yes, inflation is bad, but it's not because we're pumping too much money into the economy. It's because of supply chain issues. It's because of other shortages. It's because of COVID-19. And without this money, those problems continue. So you're not... The argument, at least, is that putting this additional money into the economy would actually help the inflation problem. Now, some economists may not agree with that. Some Democrats may not agree with that. But Kenneth, I do not see a realistic scenario where this Build Back Better bill passes in the Senate by the end of the year. That's the goal that Democrats have laid out. But all of the inflation news, as well as the news about the scores, it's going to all point in the direction of some Democrats, led by Senator Manchin, who you mentioned, to say, well, let's at least kick this into the new year. Let's see where things stand, and let's see exactly what's needed.
All right. Rick Klein, when you say it, it typically happens, so we will be watching that. I appreciate you and Deirdre Bolton as well. Thanks to you both.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.